What's up? Happy Monday. I'm Christy with AppSumo, and thank you for tuning in today. Today, I'm joined by Jack Paxton, who is founder of Top Growth Marketing. Jack, welcome.
Thank you so much, Christy, for having me here. Excited.
Listen, I'm not trying to scare you, but this is the most registered for webinar we've ever run. We have like over 750 people tuned in to watch you today.
Nice. Well, hopefully we'll teach all these people something.
Awesome. Well, we are super stoked to have you. And guys, I wanted to let you know that it wasn't too long ago that AppSumo was not even running Facebook ads, right? So then Jack came into our life and completely changed the way that we acquire our customers. His expertise in Facebook ads has allowed us to 5 to 10x our money sometimes. And today I wanted to sit down with him and essentially ask him the method behind his madness. And I know a lot of you guys probably also have questions. So you'll be happy to know that at the end of this webinar, I'm going to ask Jack lots of questions, but at the end, we're going to reserve some time where you guys can ask your own questions, and hopefully we'll be able to get through a lot of them because I know that Facebook ads is a super popular topic. So in the next hour, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to make the most of Facebook ads, who should be using Facebook ads, and what mistakes to avoid. And as I mentioned, if we have time left, we're going to answer some questions at the end. If you can't make it until the end, that's also okay because I'll be sending out a replay of this webinar to all of you who have registered later today. So that way you can either catch up on what you missed or go back and relearn what you already heard, because the goal here is to give you lots of juicy, actionable nuggets about Facebook ads that you can take into your own business. Okay, so before we get started, in the chat box, I want to know if you're currently using Facebook ads or you're wanting to start using Facebook ads. So that way we'll know how to sort of tailor this presentation. We have lots of people already tuning in. Someone said hashtag juicy. Yes, we're going to learn some juicy, actionable items today, Sean. Awesome.
Lots of juicy tips.
Lots of juicy tips. All right, Marvin said he's using. Claire's about to start. Barney's saying he's kind of doing it. I feel like we're all kind of doing Facebook ads, right? But without like proper knowledge, we're kind of like just throwing money and like crossing our fingers. And guys, I've run several online businesses and I've tried to do Facebook ads as well. I am by no means any expert, which is why I'm also super stoked to talk to Jack because I'm asking him questions that I want to know. And hopefully you'll want to know those too. All right, we've got lots of wanting to use. We got like 50-50 of people who are already using it and people who want to use it. So that's a really great crowd. All right, so let's get right into it. And you know what? The first thing I want to start with is I want to know what the biggest mistakes are people make with Facebook ads. And the reason I like to start with that is because first we can like, relate to it, be like, oh yeah, I'm making that same mistake. But then it also gives us an opportunity to talk about the things that we can be doing right to correct those mistakes. So Jack, what are some of the mistakes that you see people and small business owners doing time and time again with Facebook ads that's just, it's not working for them?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of things that you usually see in accounts that aren't working. So one, this sounds really basic, but you definitely want to make sure that you're setting up all your pixels correctly and then testing them and checking them. So many times you'll see, an issue or something not working, and it's because the pixel was incorrectly placed or they didn't do a test checkout. So as soon as you obviously start your Facebook account, set up your pixel. Super easy in things like Shopify, where you just add your pixel ID, or if you're using WordPress or something, you want to install a plugin. The best one is probably the one that AdExpresso makes. Similar thing where you just install that plugin and then you put in your ID, do a test checkout, make sure all of that is working before you spend any money. Because the worst thing is you go and spend a few $100s and you realize, bummer, I did not track any of that. So that's number one, basic 101. Two, we see a lot of people using the boost post feature straight from the ad account. I know it's really easy, but that's the reason that Facebook puts it there. It's easy money for them. So you want to really make sure that you're using Ads Manager, and that when you are launching and creating your ads, you're choosing your audiences as opposed to just saying like, okay, everybody interested in, say we're doing marketing, everybody interested in advertising, which is like a 120 million person audience. So if you're boosting this $10 to that audience, it's obviously not going to make a very big impact. So don't use the boost post. Make sure you're using the ad account. The other thing is use video. Video is huge. So you want to make sure that when you are launching your ads, spend a little bit of time creating some good video, because you're going to get much better results running video ads than you are image ads. And in terms of video, it doesn't have to be professional. So this is social media. It doesn't have to be, you know, high grade HD film with a red camera sort of stuff. It doesn't have to be movie quality production. All it has to be is an iPhone on a tripod, and then, you know, whatever your product is, whether it's like an unboxing, a hands overview. It'd be interesting to know, actually, out of everybody in here, are they more e-commerce, service-based, or I suppose informational brands? Because that's really going to affect the way that you create and structure your ad account. So most of the people we work with is usually e-commerce. E-commerce typically does the best out of any of the niches on Facebook and Instagram, just because people are on there. It's interruptive marketing. So you're literally just going about your day, you're standing in line, you're going through feeds, and essentially what you're doing now is you're shopping. You're not even really on Facebook anymore to see what your friends are doing. Most of the time you're on there and something will catch your eye, similar to walking down the street, and you'll go in and purchase that thing. So make sure that you are doing video under 60 seconds. That's, yeah, a few things to start with. We can obviously get a little bit more granular as to what people want to learn about a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I can't tell you how many times I've been on Facebook and Instagram and been interrupted by one of those ads, and all of a sudden I'm like shopping for new workout gear or something. So yeah. They know how to target me. They know how to target me. Oh, yeah. So those were some great, like, quote unquote mistakes that people make. So I'm going to kind of do a deeper dive into each of those, and maybe you could sort of pull out some of those best practices. So in terms of pixels and testing pixels, there are different pixels or different conversions that you can choose, correct? So maybe you could talk a little bit about that and say, like, which one is best for, you know, whatever type of goal you have.
Yeah, so the basic way the pixel works is that it's a piece of code that you put on your website, and that piece of code goes across every page on your site. And then you differentiate specific conversions with event tags. So an event tag is maybe view content. So your pixel will capture all the traffic that visits your website. And then on your product pages, you'll have a view content event. The view content event will then log all the information that you want to log about the product, the page, the image, all that sort of stuff. Another event might be a lead event. So that's maybe when you capture someone's email address or phone number. Another event would be add to cart, and then another one would be purchase. So you want to make sure that those events are set up at the right times, because it's really important, because those events can then turn into optimization goals, or they can turn into audiences. So for example, when you're setting up remarketing, and one of the best campaigns to set up is abandoned cart, because people are so close to checking out, they know the product they want, but for some reason they might have got interrupted in the process of checking out. So whether it's they got to the front of the line, whether they wanted to make the purchase on desktop, whatever the reason is that they didn't make that final checkout, you want to kind of get your ads back in front of that person. So what we were talking about with those events is you'll create an audience of people who got to the add to cart but didn't get to the purchase. And so that's going to be based off those events, and you're going to make those audiences. And then what Christy was talking about with the conversion options is that once you obviously create a campaign, you get to choose how you want Facebook to optimize this. So Facebook's very good at finding the right people to show your ad to get the conversions that you're asking Facebook to get you. So in this case, we would optimize the add to cart campaign to the purchase, because we want more purchases. So we're saying, hey, Facebook, in this audience, show our ad to the people who are most likely to complete this event conversion, which is the purchase. So that's essentially a super quick overview of how the pixel works. And the main thing to note is that the events you're going to use to create audiences or choose as an optimization goal.
Okay, so thank you for explaining that. And what I'm about to ask is probably very short-sighted, but that's why you're here and that's why you're answering my questions. So in my opinion, you know, is it ever worth it to run ads for someone to view your content and not make a purchase or not make a conversion? You know, if, like, let's say you're a blogger, is there any benefit into running paid ads just so someone can view your content?
Yeah, so this hugely depends on your budget. So you'll find really large brands will diversify a little bit. Smaller brands will do just conversion-based campaigns.
Okay, and is that the smartest thing to do for smaller brands, just to do conversion-based?
So if you're spending under, let's say like $1,000 a day, yes, you probably just want to focus on
$1,000 a day. That's a big budget. Oh my goodness. Okay.
I would say you really want to focus on the conversions at that point.
Gotcha.
And once you get more budget and you are willing to spend more to invest in top of the funnel traffic, that's when you're going to go and start running campaigns to optimize to lead or optimize to view content, because you know once you've got that first contact point, all of your remarketing is set up to re-engage that person at another point in time. So you're not just sending traffic to that one page, for example, they're bouncing in, under 30 seconds and then never coming back. Because unfortunately, the reality is most people don't come back to your website once they visit it once.
Right.
So you really need to make sure you have all of that remarketing set up first before you start running ads to bring in, top of the funnel traffic.
Okay, perfect. That's a really good explanation. Which brings me to my next mistake that you were talking about, which is boosting posts. So again, guilty. I have boosted many a post. Now, are you saying that it's not even worth it to boost a post, or you should only do it within Ads Manager?
Yeah, so the reason I say don't boost posts is because it is really easy to do, and that's why Facebook puts it there, because it's easy money for them. So you don't have as much flexibility with who you're targeting. So when you're running ads, you really want to obviously understand who your target audience is. So you might find that it's a certain age, it's a certain state, location, city, demographic. There's so many different variables that go into how or who you want to show your ad to. So when you use that boost post, you really lose a lot of the functionality with where you can and can't show your ad. So if you're just boosting your content, for example, you might want to have a set campaign for that in your Facebook Ads Manager, and that you're running all of your ads through that same audience, so that you're pre-setting the perfect placement for that content, the perfect audience for that content. And so that way you're actually really getting the most out of your ad spend. And of course, you always want to be using, data for this. So as you're running those ads, you really want to obviously be looking at the results that you get over time and saying like, okay, hey, Instagram's performing much better than Facebook. I'm going to just run my content on Instagram now. Or you might find that, okay, males are clicking on this and females aren't. I'm just going to serve this to males. And you can obviously do that with every single data point that Facebook has, depending on how granular you want to go. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of the time you want to try and run your ads out of Ads Manager just because you have more flexibility in what you can and can't do in terms of who you want to show it to. The other thing is you can also have a lot more access to different types of ads. So you have collection ads, you have carousel ads, video ads, and all that sort of stuff. So you do have a lot more flexibility with how you can kind of customize the way your ad looks.
Okay.
If you are going to boost posts, what you can do, this gets a little bit more technical, but what you can do is you're going to take the post ID. So every single post that's created on Facebook has a URL, and every single post has an ID. But what you can do in your Ads Manager is that when you're choosing to create an ad, you can choose to use one of your current existing posts. So all you need to do is, if you publish something to your page, is use the use existing post and select your post from there. So instead of using the boost section, just go into your Ads Manager and do that. It'll take maybe an extra few minutes, but you'll get much better results. And you'll also be able to see much better, I suppose, breakdown of how your performance went.
Okay, awesome. So again, I have so many questions, but based on that, here's two questions. One is, how do we know what target market to go after? And then two, how long should we run these tests before pulling that data and then, reconfiguring?
Yeah, sure. So the first question on how to find your target audience. So this is a combination of things. One, depending on how much information you have on your customers, you can obviously pull that from your own information from your stores. The other thing is you want to use, for example, audience insights. So you can also survey your customers, that sort of thing. You'll also be able to see, like, obviously, once you start running ads, who's buying it. So when you look at your campaigns and you're like, okay, I want to look at my audiences for purchases, you can do a breakdown and obviously see all of the data points, like, you know, age, gender, all that sort of stuff on who's actually purchasing. And there's obviously a lot of information that you can pull out of Google Analytics as well. So Google Analytics is great for showing you, you know, the demographics and geographics, so where people are buying. So that's a great one to start with. So instead of targeting the entire US, just go with the top 20%. So just target 20% of the states that you're getting most of your conversions from. Gotcha. And that's automatically going to save you a lot of wasted budget. Awesome. Same with the ages aren't as good on Google Analytics because they don't have as much information on people's ages as someone like Facebook. But you can obviously start with Google Analytics because obviously you're not going to have any data from your Facebook ads if you're just running Facebook ads for the first time. So I would go Google Analytics, Facebook Audience Insights, and then you're going to use the Facebook dashboard. Those three are the easiest ones. And then you can obviously get into the surveying customers and all that sort of stuff after.
Okay, great. Now, in terms of, again, running those tests, how long should we run a test to see if it's working and to actually glean some data from it?
Yeah, so I usually like to run tests for 3 times my CPA target. So CPA means cost per acquisition. So say I sell a $100 product, I have a cost per acquisition target of $50. So I want to make $100 on my sale. So I would run a test for $150. So that's 3 times the CPA.
Okay, awesome. That's a really good data point. Now, in terms of coming back to audiences, you know, when you're sort of defining your audience, is there a magic number? Like, you know, Facebook will say, okay, your post has a possibility of reaching 1 million people. Is that too much? Should you narrow it down?
Yeah, so again, this one's going to depend on your budget. So, you know, I would start off with anytime you want to start an account or anytime we start an account, we always start with remarketing. So remarketing is the best place to start because you've already got people coming to your site who are interested. You might just need to get a little bit more, you know, aggressive with your sales pitch to them by adding in some remarketing ads. They might not organically be buying that first time they visit, so just try and get them back to your site. Those audiences are going to have much smaller sizes. Like they're probably going to be, if you're getting started, in like the hundreds or thousands. Once you start getting into prospecting and using like lookalike audiences and interest audiences and that sort of stuff, you really want to aim for like the 1 to 2 million range, just so you give Facebook enough, I suppose, to make sure that the pool is big enough for Facebook to then go in and find the people who are going to convert based on that conversion event that you chose. So remember how we were choosing to convert. You know how we were choosing to show our ad into this audience, and we wanted Facebook to find people who were going to purchase. So Facebook needs to have enough people in that audience to then go and find those people who are going to purchase.
Okay. So, okay, gotcha. Now you talked about video ads. So let's talk about there. What are the best practices with video ads? And when you talk about video ads, is this more for brand awareness or is this for actual conversion?
Yeah, so this is mostly for conversion. And a few things with video is you want to, 1, make sure it's under 60 seconds. People watch shorter videos on Facebook and Instagram. People watch longer videos on places like YouTube. So you want to try and keep your videos kind of like under 60 seconds and on, you know, Facebook and Instagram. And then a few other things is you want to be using a square format or a 4:5 ratio. 4:5 ratio is essentially the size of the, I suppose, the canvas of the video. And that essentially takes up the entire page or the entire mobile screen when you're looking at the newsfeed. So 4:5 is really good. And then 1:1 ratio, which is square. Those two are the sizes that you want to use. Using the landscape view, it just doesn't really take up that much room in the feed anymore. And now that you have these options for these larger ones, you should definitely take advantage of them because you're not paying any extra money to serve a video that takes up the entire screen compared to something that takes up a third of the screen.
Of course.
So definitely use square and 4:5 ratio. The other thing is you've got like 3 seconds or so to engage that person. So 1, make the holding image really interesting. So you want to spike, you know, curiosity, intrigue, that sort of thing with your display holding image. So you'll see this on YouTube. They do it really well. Like all these top YouTubers have crazy display pictures that are the holding image. of the video. So that's essentially to get you to click. So that also applies to Facebook, because a lot of people have autoplay turned off now. So you really need to have a really enticing video holding image. And then once they do click play, you really need to engage them in that first 3 to 4 seconds and convince them why they should watch the rest of that video. So whether it's you're starting with like a shocking fact, whether you're starting with a huge amount of value, don't just start with like, hey, I'm Jack from Top Growth Marketing, blah, 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 and then get to what you're actually going to talk about, 5-10 seconds in, because you've already lost them at that point. So if you were going to create a video, you'd be like, hey, want to learn how to 10x your Facebook growth? And then that would be the starting 3 seconds. And they're like, yeah, I'm interested in that. I'll keep watching that, compared to like, hey, I'm Jack from Top Growth Marketing. And they're like, I don't care who you are.
Sure.
So yeah, make sure you're putting like the big value prop in that first, 3 to 5 seconds.
Awesome.
Other things with video I'll just quickly do is, make sure that you're looking at your placements. So when you're running video ads, the type of video that works on Facebook and Instagram are very different. So you might find that particular ads work really, really well on Facebook, and then other ads work really, really well on Instagram. So this example is e-commerce. So the type of ads that work on Instagram are much more sort of catalog, brandish, stylish sort of videos, whereas the type of videos that work on Facebook are much more functional based. So it's literally showing the product, showing features and benefits. Whereas Instagram is more like showing the product in a live scenario, or showing the product in use on your day-to-day. So also just keep an eye on where your video ads are working and the results of those different placements, because you might find that you only want to run specific ads on Instagram, you only want to run specific ads on Facebook.
Awesome. Now, I know you said that the videos didn't need to be super professional, but are there any tools that you can recommend that actually like help a novice create pretty good looking videos?
Yeah, sure. So the starting point would be to just use, it doesn't have to be a super high-end camera. You can do most of it with literally an iPhone on a tripod. The main thing is stability. You don't want it shaking too much. And so once you do that and you've got that raw footage, you can then go to a bunch of different services to, obviously edit that video. I think we use a lot of time. I think the main ones are Camtasia, Final Cut Pro. There's definitely some free ones too. I'll have to find the free ones. We haven't used those in a while.
Okay, awesome.
But there's definitely some free ones that you can use that can cut it up for you. Even I think on Apple, you can use the starting video software that they use on Apple.
Is it just iMovie?
Yeah, I think you could probably use iMovie as well if you really wanted to start with no expense to get started. The other thing is, if you film on your phone, you also have the benefit of using apps to edit your video. So now there's so many different apps that you can use to edit video and then upload it straight from your phone. It doesn't have to go to your computer for you to go then edit it and get professional about it. If you want to start even before that, you can actually literally just go with kind of like just a selfie mode, holding your phone up in front of you, talking, and then showing the product as well. That's really organic looking. Mm-hmm. And because that's what other people are kind of doing with, their natural news feed. It's not necessarily always going to be an ad. So you can even start there if you wanted to. Awesome.
You know what? We here at AppSumo use that selfie style for some of our Instagram videos when we are launching our new deals. Sometimes I'll just take my camera and announce the deal. So we even use that at AppSumo. So let's talk about, and I'm imagining most people who are here today are probably new and maybe new in their business. So I know we talked about this a little bit, but what's the best way that someone can make use of Facebook ads if they have a small budget? And so a small budget, I'm talking under $50 a day, like a super small budget.
Yeah, so at that point, you would definitely want to start with remarketing, as I said before. So set up your abandoned cart ads and set up, if you can, dynamic product ads. So dynamic product ads are essentially when you go and visit a store, you look at some products and then those products get shown back to you in ads. So this usually has the highest ROAS, which is return on ad spend, or same thing as ROI, return on investment. And so you want to set up that dynamic product ads because they have the highest conversion rate because they're very relevant to what that person's doing. So I would start with dynamic product ads and abandoned cart ads. Those are probably the two best places to start. Abandoned cart's a little bit easier to get started because dynamic product ads, you need to go into a little bit more extra setup. And then once you've got those set up, the next one you want to set up is more the general remarketing. So people who are engaging with your Facebook page sort of thing. So people who are watching your videos, commenting on your posts, that sort of thing. The next section would be people who are engaging with your Instagram stuff. So people who are engaging with your Instagram account. And obviously, once you have all of that remarketing set up, you want to look at doing lookalike audiences. But you really want to have that remarketing set up first, because once you start running prospecting traffic, which is people who have never heard of your brand before, you want to make sure that that remarketing system is set up so that when you do send new people to your website, you have the best chance of converting them because you're going to have ads running to them once they visit and bounce. Because very rarely do people come and purchase the very first time they visit your site.
Of course,
it usually takes, like depending on your industry, 4 to 8 touch points. So really the prospecting needs to make sure that the remarketing is already set up. So definitely $50 a day, start with remarketing there. Of course, depending on if you've got website traffic, because the size of that remarketing audience is going to depend on how many people you have obviously visiting your website. So yeah, you could probably start with remarketing at under $50 a day. And then once you want to kind of move up into prospecting, which would probably be above $50 a day, you could then start running, obviously, prospecting. And that helps you scale your company because you're bringing in new customers. You're not just converting people who've already found your company or website.
Right. Okay. Now, would you say that's the same process for people who have, let's say, like a service-based business, someone who's not e-commerce, that they don't have the product catalog? Would you say that it's the same kind of process, start with remarketing, even if you're in a service-based industry?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the service-based industry will still be remarketing. It'll just be slightly different because you won't obviously have abandoned carts because they're not checking out at an e-commerce store.
Right.
It might be re-engaging people who opted into your email list, or re-engaging people who got to a contact page, or re-engage people if you have a SaaS company, or re-engaging people who got to a certain step of the sign-up process but then didn't finish it. Those are the starting points that you want to kind of get people back to, because that's going to have the highest impact on your ROAS, because they're obviously really close, but you just need to remind them to come back and finish it.
Gotcha. All right. So guys, if you have a small budget, the biggest thing we learned here today is start with remarketing to people who are already visiting your website because they already have some knowledge about you. So it's going to be less to get those people back to your site and hopefully convert them. Now let's talk about the actual creation of ads, right? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what makes a good Facebook ad. Which is more important, the copy or the image?
Yeah, so creative definitely trumps the copy. So you'll see like funny memes and stuff going around where people say, you'll read this first on the image. And then, of course, you read the image first and then you go and read the text after that.
Right.
So definitely the creative is more important than the copy, because unless you capture someone's attention with that creative, they're not even going to get to reading the copy. So as I was going back to how to really engage people with that video, make sure your display holding images are really good. Make sure you're delivering the value or the punchline sort of thing in the first section of the video so that you're capturing them to watch the rest of the video. Other things are try and use colors that are sort of like against the Facebook blues. So you can use like reds, yellows, greens, that sort of stuff stands out in the newsfeed a little bit more because everything's blue. So ideally you really want to just, what we call it is scroll stopping. Create scroll stopping creative, because if you can stop someone from scrolling, you've interrupted them and now you've got their attention, which you can then go and convince them to take the next action in that copy. So yeah, I would definitely suggest creative over copy. And then when you do go and create your creative, again, make sure that you are engaging those people in the first few seconds, because I think Facebook even released that most people drop off after like 3 to 4 seconds.
Oh, wow. So I know that Facebook has some parameters around the image that you use for your ads, and text can only be 20% of the creative. Do you have any best practices for should you include text on your creative, or should you just leave it as is?
Yeah. So the funny thing is that Facebook used to be you can't publish anything that's got over 20% text. Now they let you publish it, but they penalize you by making you pay a higher CPM, which is cost per 1,000 impressions.
Right.
So you can definitely run ads with more than 20%. You just need to be willing to pay a higher premium to do it. And so obviously, if you're paying more for the traffic, that's going to affect your ROAS on the back end, because say instead of getting 1,000 people to see your ad for $10, now you're only getting 500 people. So your conversion rate has to be twice as high, essentially.
Gotcha.
But you can run kind of like text over images and video. I definitely encourage using text on video. So you can have banners up the top or the bottom of the video, and you can include text there. You definitely want to be using the captions, because a lot of people aren't listening to sound on their videos. So make sure you obviously have caption there. And if you do add text on your video, make sure the caption doesn't overlay the text, because then you're not going to be able to read the caption or the text. With images, I still recommend staying under 20%, just so there's no reason for Facebook to ever shut down your ad if it's converting really well, because they can essentially just disapprove anything when they want. It's their platform, right. Unfortunately. But yeah, definitely including a bit of text is really good. If you can somehow highlight the benefit or the feature in that text, it's really good. If you're starting out, you can literally just create slideshows. So if you have a product, or you have a service, you could literally just have images, 5 images, each with one tagline of the benefit of that product or service, and then just make a slideshow within Facebook. So a slideshow, you just upload 5 images, and then you choose the transition time, and then you're good to go. And that will create a video for you from your images. So you don't even have to go and create video if you don't want to.
Okay.
But having that process of showing pictures of the product or service or the results along with the benefits, just filtering through those, that's really compelling to get people to, obviously, the first card that you want to have in your slideshow or carousel wants to be the most engaging. And then that will hopefully encourage them to go and look at the rest of them. And then once they've done that, they'll then go and read the copy to say, like, okay, where can I get this next piece of information? Where can I opt in? Where can I buy this? Whatever it may be. But yeah, you don't necessarily have to have the buy CTA call to action. You don't have to have the buy call to action in the actual video or image itself. Usually the button on the ad, which is like the buy now or learn more, is pretty obvious. So you can test this. So I always encourage split testing. We do a lot of A/B testing. It's very easy now in Facebook. So definitely test having, CTA or no CTA, and then running with the one that obviously works the best.
Awesome. So let's assume that I have a scroll stopping creative, right? I've got that done. Now I'm working on the copy. I see a trend where ad copy is actually quite long, like so long that I have to click more and then it drops down. Is that a tactic? Like, does that work? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah. So again, remember, you need to engage people as early as possible. So with those longer form copy, they always create copy in that top section that's compelling enough to make you click the expand.
Yeah.
So they'll usually give you you'll usually want to give the main benefit feature or the shock factor in that top section. And then you're going to say like, hey, to learn more, expand. And then it's going to expand that so that you can learn the context behind that, main thing. So usually the longer copy is going to work better for remarketing, and you want to have shorter copy for prospecting. So prospecting, you really just want them to obviously engage with the content or click through to the ad. And so you really want to have it in quick. You want to get your message across to them quick enough, which usually is less text or short video. And then once they're on your website, it's very then easy to remarket them and then tell them more information about your brand, product, or service with longer form copy and video, because they already have some knowledge of who you are and what you can actually do for them. Okay. So prospecting, use shorter images, shorter video. Remarketing, use longer copy, longer video.
Awesome. So I know you just touched on this. You talked about, running some different tests. What are some other different tests that people can be using to see if it optimizes their ad spend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the main test in Facebook is that A/B split test that you can run. It's very easy because it's built into Facebook, so you don't have to have any extra software or anything. And you can split test things like landing pages. So you can have the same ad, same traffic, and then just find out which landing page converts better. The other one that we like to do is the creative. So you want to split test the creative, whether it is short or long video, whether it is image or video. So that's a really good test to run, and that's going to make a big difference when you start scaling up to larger spends. And then other things you might want to test is audiences. So you might want to find that, okay, this ad's working really well. I want to split test to see if this is working better for people between 18 and 25 or people between 25 and 35. So you can find out which audiences do better as well through split tests. So the main one that we usually do is the offer, which is usually the landing page or the offer that we include in the ad. The next thing that we test usually is creative, because that does have a much bigger impact on copy. And the third thing you want to test is the audiences who you're targeting. And then the fourth one would probably be the copy. So that's kind of like the hierarchy of the tests that you would want to do. Yeah.
Awesome. You are giving these guys some actionable tips. So I hope everyone listening is as excited about it as I am, because I'm very excited about it. So in just a few minutes, we're going to start taking your questions. So guys, if you have any questions for Jack, go ahead and put them in the chat box. And I'm assuming we're going to have quite a bit. And I actually I saw one that came through. And they were asking, like, is it worth it to run Facebook ads if your budget is only $5 a day?
So I would hold off, and I would probably work on a few other aspects of your company first. So the main thing is, if you're spending $5 a day, you need to make sure that if you're just getting started, you've got an audience already, because you're going to want to start with remarketing. So remember, you need to have, I would say maybe 100 visitors a day or so to then start doing that remarketing. If you are just getting started, you might be better off investing in, doing partnerships with other brands. So that's like doing some guest posting, doing some partnerships and collaborations, and using your money on that first before you start looking at Facebook ads, because you really want to have, at least a test budget to say, like, okay, is this going to work or not? At $5 a day, you're not really going to be able to test a whole lot of things. So I would definitely encourage you to kind of like focus on a few other aspects of your company. And then once you have a little bit more budget to start with, then start looking at Facebook and scaling with that, because you really want to be able to have enough money to give Facebook enough budget to then obviously optimize and use all the benefits of Facebook. So the main benefits are, the remarketing is really good. The creative options you have are really good. The lookalike audiences are the best for scaling, but you can't really scale unless you've got, for an audience to make a lookalike, you really want to have, like, the minimum is 100, but you really want to have 500 to 1,000 of those conversion events before you go and create a lookalike audience. So for $5 a day, I would definitely sort of start on other areas of your business, build up a little bit after that with Facebook ads. So, you can do some organic stuff, do some partnerships, do some collaborations, that sort of thing.
Awesome. All right. So let's kind of dive right into the audience questions. And this kind of goes along the same line. Tora's asking, Instagram or Facebook, which one's better for a smaller budget?
You're going to get more clicks with Facebook. So Facebook's much more native for people going through and clicking out from Facebook. So if you're trying to get people to go to a store or a website, Facebook's probably going to be a better bet. If you're looking for like view through conversions and you're looking to kind of, I suppose, get your brand and product in front of people, but you're not looking for the direct click through buy now sort of response, Instagram's probably better. So I would say you'd want to start with Facebook and then expand into Instagram. Of course, this also depends on what niche and product you have. So some products, for example, do really, really well on Instagram. So if you're like a bathing suit company, you definitely want to start with Instagram. If you're a more functional product and you want a direct buy now sort of result, you probably want to start with Facebook.
Those are really good. Those are really good tips. So I know we said that $5 was too little every day. Doug is asking, what is the minimum daily budget that you should shoot for?
Yeah, so if you do have a large enough audience to do remarketing, you can do that $5. But I'm assuming if you're only going to put $5 a day, you probably don't have enough traffic to your website. So you want to have maybe like 100 people a day at least before you start running those Facebook ads.
Okay.
So you can start at $5 a day as long as you've got that traffic already there. So $5 is fine if you have enough traffic. Really, when you wanted to get all of your remarketing set up, that's going to be roughly, depending on how much traffic, between $5 and $50 a day maybe. And then once you're getting really profitable results from that, then you'll want to start scaling with prospecting. So prospecting obviously being interest targeting, lookalike targeting, maybe location targeting, that sort of stuff. And then that you can start at, like over $50 a day. You definitely can try and do it at lower budgets. I'm just saying when we've done it, we definitely see much better results when we've got a little bit of budget to actually go and experiment, test, and then scale. But yeah, that's my recommendation. It's not a guideline. It's not like Facebook's going to disallow you from running ads if you only want to spend $5 a day. They're happy to take the money.
Sure.
But you might want to, instead of spending $5 a day every day, put together some sort of special offer, some special campaign, some sort of special promotion, and instead of spending $5 a day, save up and then spend that money on that promotion or specific offer that you're going to do. So that you might be able to spend maybe $20 a day for a month instead of spending that $5 a day for 4 months.
Gotcha. That's a really good tip. All right, so now we have a couple questions more around some specific use cases. So Boris is asking, do you recommend using Facebook ads for eBay or FBA products?
Yeah, so this is a tough one because they do not allow you to track with the Facebook pixel. So one workaround that we've used before with this is you want to use some sort of link tracking software. So I think we use Rocket Link at AppSumo.
Yep.
And so that way you can see how many people are clicking through. And now the issue here is you can't track that purchase conversion on eBay or Amazon. They don't let you place code on the thank you page. So what you have to do is you have to work out what your conversion rate is. So how many people go to your Amazon listing and how many people check out? Say it's 3%. So you need to figure out then from the number of clicks that you're getting on your Facebook or Instagram ads, what 3% equates to in terms of spend. So it's really like a little bit more work to get it to work for Amazon and eBay, but you really need to do the math on that because you're not going to be able to track it with the pixel, obviously. I think there probably are services out there as well that kind of help do that for you. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I have seen one company that creates like a specific landing page that creates a coupon code for Amazon, which they then use to track the conversion.
Interesting.
Maybe I can find it and send it to you after or something. But yeah, you can do tracking through working it out mathematically or using coupon codes, but it's a little bit more technical with the coupon codes.
Okay, and so maybe this next question is going to be something similar, but Emma's asking, what's your opinion about putting products on Facebook Marketplace if they are drop shipped from AliExpress?
So the marketplace is two things. So one, you can list your stuff organically on the marketplace, and that's fine. There's no issues doing that at all. The other thing is the marketplace is an ad placement. So if you do have dropship products, just make sure you're using Shopify or something and you're not going to have any issues. The main thing I see with dropshipping is people getting around the long wait times for the product. If you're shipping from AliExpress, I think the average send time is like 15 to 20 days or something. So figuring out how to keep customers excited and engaged over that 15 to 20 days is the hard part. Getting the conversions is not as hard. But you definitely can run marketplace ads for dropship products. Facebook's not disallowing it or anything, and it is a great channel to use. as long as you have kind of like an email sequence set up so that you're keeping people engaged while they wait for their products. That's the main thing I think with dropshipping.
It's more of a customer service issue than an ads issue at that point.
Yeah, because you're going to be able to run the ads. It's not a problem. And it's just like an e-commerce store. So there's no difference between a e-commerce store and a dropshipping store, apart from the difference between the benefits and the benefits between a direct product store. So, 2 to 5 shipping days compared to 15 to 20 shipping days. And then obviously you have a little bit more control of the product and the experience and that sort of thing with your own product compared to dropshipping.
Awesome. All right. So I see a couple of people asking if this is going to be recorded. It is being recorded and a replay will be sent out later today, guys. So in case you're just tuning in, don't worry, you'll be able to catch up. All right. So we have another kind of use case. Kevin is asking, with before and after photos not allowed in ads, what kind of ad would you create for a business that relies on that? For instance, something like permanent makeup or similar service.
Yeah. So it's a lot easier for Facebook to tell a before and after image compared to a video. So if you were to sort of create a video that was before and after, but you were sort of not being direct as saying like, hey, the title of the screenshot is before and the title of the screenshot is after. Because Facebook runs through all of the ads first, obviously with an automated system. And then the automated system will flag stuff that then gets manually reviewed. So if you create a video of before and before you do the before and after shot, you explain what the product is, explain the benefits, and then show like, hey, this is what happens to the regular user who isn't using XYZ. And then you show a video frame of like, hey, this is what happens once you start using our product for XYZ days, you start seeing these benefits. So I would say before and after, you want to really put into a video and you want to put a little bit more context around it rather than just saying like, hey, this is what you look like now. This is what you're going to look like after.
Awesome. That's a really great tip. So Justin is asking, do you have any tips for B2B services compared to products?
Yeah. So B2B is completely different to e-commerce in the way that you are changing the type of goal that you're trying to get from Facebook. So very rarely I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it is really hard to get someone to see a Facebook ad and then go and buy a B2B subscription. A lot of the time there's an extra step in between there. So you want to use Facebook and Instagram to then drive leads, which you then go and convert with your remarketing ads, your email drips, your content marketing strategies, that sort of stuff. So what we see most B2B companies doing is they'll create ads that go to lead magnets, free webinars, free training, that sort of thing. And then after you've delivered some value, you then go for the sales pitch, because it's a much heavier decision than just say like buying some makeup. The amount of people involved in the decision to buy B2B software or B2B products, there's a lot more, so it's not as direct response. So you want to provide that value first, do the pitch at the end of that free webinar or free content upgrade, and then also follow up with them with email, remarketing ads, and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of like an extra step in the middle there.
Yeah, it's a much longer funnel, if you will. All right, so Steppes is asking, when it comes to the minimum daily budget and Facebook leads, would you recommend running 15-second videos, then retargeting the video views and running a Facebook leads campaign to get leads?
Yeah, so that's a really good strategy to use, is have a video that you're putting out there. And then I would usually suggest don't remarket anyone who watches less than 75%. Ideally, you really want to focus on the people who watch 95% of the video, because they're kind of like the warmest audience. And you don't necessarily even have to go for leads. You could also go straight for the conversion if you wanted to, because people who have watched 95% of your video, and say your video is 15 to 30 seconds, that's someone who's pretty engaged and pretty interested in what you have to say. So you could then test sending people straight to a lead page, landing page, and then test also sending people straight to a buy page. You might find that it's actually works out to be a better ROI asking just straight for the sale as opposed to going just for the lead. But that's something that you would definitely want to do a split test on, and then figure out, like, for my X amount of dollars, how many leads do I get? How many of those leads convert into customers compared to how much people visit this sales page and how many they convert. So you just want to kind of figure out which process and which funnel is going to get you a better ROI.
Awesome. Anthony is asking, are surveys and contests effective ways to engage audiences and to convert them?
Yeah, so they're definitely top of the funnel strategies. So you want to get them in and aware of your brand so that, you know, once you do have them in and aware of your brand, you can then push them into that remarketing system that you have. Now, the reason that, you know, like surveys and giveaways, like BuzzFeed is the biggest example of this ever. They ran so many kind of like personality quizzes and surveys and then got everybody to share those with their friends and family and that sort of stuff. So the commitment to doing that is way less than making a purchase, for example. And Facebook really likes to encourage brands who create content that gets a lot of engagement. So then the way that they reward people for creating posts that get a lot of engagement is they give them cheaper CPMs, so cost per 1,000 impressions. So when you use giveaways, quizzes, surveys, that sort of thing, you can get much, much, much cheaper traffic. But again, that traffic is not as high intent as people who are ready to purchase. So what you want to do is from that top of the funnel traffic, you want to then obviously push them into that remarketing system and then get them through that system. You can create audiences based on people who engage with specific videos or posts. So that's where I would start. If you have a quiz, you then want to obviously promote that quiz to your target markets. So who's going to be interested in your product? Who's this quiz for? Target those people. And then remarket to those people who completed the quiz, people who watched the quiz video or whatever it may be. But yeah, you're really looking for those types of campaigns to be the top of the funnel. And then you want to push those, you know, usually it's going to be a smaller percentage down into that remarketing to actually get those conversions. But yeah, it's a really good way to scale your ad account because you see a lot of advertisers get stuck in just running remarketing and not getting past that because they don't want to invest in that top of the funnel traffic. But they need to understand that if you want to bring new people into your site, you need to give them some sort of value before you can convert them. So those ways are really great ways to give some value and get some interest and engagement before you then go for that pitch.
Okay, awesome. And so M has a unique scenario. She's saying, I recently got a product completely banned from Facebook. It wasn't even my own product, but an affiliate marketing product I was promoting as an affiliate. Facebook responded to my request for review of the disapproved ad with a message that said all future ads for this product will be disallowed. So how do I avoid something like this happening again? Is there a list of like banned products that you cannot promote?
There might be, but I know affiliate marketing is a tough one. So I know affiliate marketing, it's kind of in that gray area of Amazon, Facebook, and what are we talking about? Amazon, Facebook, and Google. Yeah. So those three are kind of like, especially Facebook and Google aren't as excited about affiliate products. And so you do need to probably focus more onto collecting and building an email list and an audience rather than trying to get that direct sale, because they can kind of disapprove products and that sort of thing, but they can't really disapprove you building an audience. So if you're an affiliate marketer and you have a specific niche you're really good at, I would use Facebook to create and build an audience or list and then promote your products to that audience or list outside of Facebook. Because once you have that list outside of Facebook, you're not going to be relying on Facebook for your sales. And it's a lot less likely that Facebook's going to disapprove or ban you for building a list or building an audience.
Okay. And Emma actually has a follow-up comment to her question. She said, it may have been because I targeted make money fast as part of my audience targeting. Are there some like audience targeting red flags that we should know about and avoid?
Yeah. So Facebook really doesn't like it when you're trying to individually call out people. So using words like you, your, that sort of thing, where you're trying to say like, hey, you that lives in Los Angeles, do you have this problem? And then Facebook really doesn't like you singling out people like that. Okay. So you need to be much more sort of general about who you're sort of trying to call out in that audience. So it's like, hey, people in Los Angeles usually experience X, Y, Z. This is what they're doing to solve that problem. Rather than saying like, hey, you live in Los Angeles, you have this problem, I have the solution for you. Facebook doesn't necessarily like that. They like the more general stuff where you're not specifically calling out someone, because Facebook's constantly in a battle to not be too creepy but still have enough power for advertisers to then get really good, ROI on their investments.
Of course. Awesome. So it looks like that's all the questions we have. Thank you, Jack, so much for doing this. This was super helpful, not only for myself, but I think everyone in the audience. I saw lots of people who were saying, great info, thanks for the tips. So everyone's very appreciative. Why don't you let these guys know how they can get a hold of you if they have questions or they want to hire you to run their own ads in the future, how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, the best spot is, you can go check out topgrowthmarketing.com. You can send any follow-up questions or anything else that you need help answering. You can go there, or you can find me on LinkedIn. You can also ask me questions on there. I'm just Jack Paxton. I was lucky enough to get in early to get my actual name. Jack Paxton is a very popular name, apparently.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, I would say LinkedIn and the website is the best places to reach me. Of course, I'm also accessible through the AppSumo guys. So if you ever, send an email into the AppSumo guys, they can just forward it on to me as well. If you can't remember Top Growth Marketing.
Awesome. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll be sending out a replay along with Jack's contact information in an email later today. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.